Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on an absolutely monumental journey, a truly sweeping exploration of what we're calling ancient foundations.
That's right. The sources we're diving into give us this foundational narrative tracing, the earliest moments of creation,
Yeah.
the formation of a people, a nation, their triumphs, their struggles, and really the establishment of their core principles and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a profound look, really, at the very beginnings of a complex spiritual and societal story.
Right.
And it highlights this continuous dynamic interaction between the divine and the human.
And our mission, as always, is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, those insights from this huge collection.
Right.
We're looking for those surprising facts and, enduring themes that still resonate today across millennia, all without you feeling overwhelmed by just the sheer volume.
It's a lot to cover.
It is. Think of it as your shortcut, maybe, to getting informed about a truly ancient foundational story.
Sounds good.
So let's jump right into Genesis. What immediately strikes you about the world's beginning here is this, incredibly orderly progression of creation.
Yes.
You see the separation of water from sky, calling forth dry ground, land, seas, and then, the detailed emergence of plants, fruit trees. It's very deliberate, step by step.
And what's remarkable about that opening is how it establishes order right out of the gate.
Yeah.
It's not like a chaotic burst.
No.
It's a meticulously designed stage for everything that follows. It prepares the very environment for human existence.
Okay, so from that grand scale creation, we zoom right in on early humanity. We meet the first couple, described as naked, feeling no shame, this state of pure innocence.
Right, and it begs the question, doesn't it? How does that initial sort of unblemished state just abruptly shift?
Yeah.
We quickly see the arrival of the serpent, who subtly questions God's instruction about the forbidden fruit, asking, did God really say?
That subtle doubt.
Exactly. And that first act of disobedience has swift, devastating consequences. It culminates in Cain's story, where his brother's blood literally cries out from the ground.
Wow.
And Cain ends up cursed, driven to be a restless wanderer. It's such a rapid descent from innocence to, severe brokenness.
The narrative then takes this really drastic turn with Noah. He finds favor in a world described as just consumed by corruption and violence.
Yeah, the sources say God saw how corrupt the earth had become and made the profound decision to destroy both them and the earth through a flood. And the instructions given to Noah are incredibly precise.
Down to the animals, right?
Down to the number of clean and unclean animals, birds, pets,
Research.
everything he had to bring onto the ark. Very specific.
So this massive judgment, this new beginning, what does that highlight?
Well, it highlights a deeply recurring pattern in these sources. Human failings often seem to prompt divine intervention, leading to a kind of reset.
Okay.
After the flood, we see the foundation of scattered peoples laid through Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And there's that curious, very human moment with Noah's drunkenness. Ham's disrespect is sharply contrasted with Shem and Japheth's act of reverence covering their father.
Yeah, that's a strange little story.
It is, but it shows that even in this new world, human nature is still right there.
That brings us to Abram, who later becomes Abraham. He's called by God at, 75 years old?
Yeah, an advanced age to leave his home in Haran.
And with this call comes this immense promise. God declares, I will bless those who bless you, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you.
And what's truly striking there is how this one individual, an elderly man, becomes the hinge for such a grand, almost overwhelming promise for all peoples.
How does that even start to unfold?
Well, it starts with a very personal pledge. Yeah. A son from his own body, offspring as numerous as the stars.
Okay.
Yet, and this is interesting, Abraham and even his son Isaac, surprisingly, present their wives as sisters on separate occasions because they're afraid.
Right, fear gets in the way.
Exactly. And Abraham, the guy who received this huge land promise, is shown meticulously purchasing a burial plot for Sarah from the Hittites.
Small human details.
Very human. They underscore the complex, sometimes vulnerable journey of faith, even for these foundational figures.
Okay, shifting gears now to Joseph. His story takes a wild, almost unbelievable turn right from the start with those vivid dreams.
Oh yeah, the dreams of supremacy. Sheaves bowing down.
Sun, moon, 11 stars bowing to him.
No wonder his brothers hated him all the more.
Right.
And that simmering family hatred didn't stay simmering, it boils over.
They sell him.
They sell him for 20 shekels of silver. It seems like this devastating betrayal, right?
Totally.
But it's this very moment that ironically sets the stage for a much larger divine plan to begin unfolding. And we even get that rich, surprising side story of Judah and Tamar.
Oh, the seal, cord, and staff.
Yeah, a remarkable kind of clever method of identifying paternity. It's quite the detour.
So Joseph then endures unjust imprisonment. Potiphar's wife falsely accuses him.
Right. But his unique gift for interpreting dreams shines even in prison. He accurately interprets the dreams of Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker.
And that turns out to be key.
Absolutely, his turning point. Joseph's ability to interpret Pharaoh's challenging dreams, predicting 7 years of abundance, then 7 years of severe famine.
Yeah.
Pharaoh himself recognizes this as profound discernment and wisdom. And it leads to Joseph being put in charge of the entire land of Egypt.
From pit to palace.
Exactly. An incredible ascent, all orchestrated through this unique gift.
Then we get the intense emotional drama when his brothers come to Egypt for grain.
Yes, and Joseph tests them, demands they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin.
And Judah's plea,
Oh,
offering himself as a slave in Benjamin's place, that's powerful.
it's a profound, pivotal moment. And then Joseph finally reveals his identity.
Lots of weeping, I imagine.
Oh yeah, marked by weeping and this deep emotional reconciliation. This news revives Jacob's spirit. The whole family relocates to Egypt, settles in Ramesses.
And Joseph provides for them during the famine?
A beautiful picture of redemption within the family. Even on his deathbed, Jacob prophetically blesses Ephraim over the elder Manasseh, crossing his arms.
Right, that switch.
And delivers these pronouncements over his other sons too, like Reuben, Simeon, Levi. And that deeply powerful detail, Joseph ensuring his father Jacob is buried with great ceremony back in Canaan.
Still connected to the promised land.
Exactly. Emphasizes that enduring connection, even in death.
Okay, fast forward a few centuries. We find ourselves in the extraordinary circumstances of Moses' birth.
Right, hidden in the reeds.
And his adoption by Pharaoh's daughter, who names him Moses because she drew him out of the water.
What really stands out here is the direct confrontational relationship Moses has with Pharaoh, and how Pharaoh's heart is continually hardened despite these powerful signs and plagues, like the gnats and flies.
Stubborn.
Incredibly, even Moses, usually so composed, becomes hot with anger at Pharaoh's stubbornness. It shows the immense personal toll of this confrontation.
Then come the pivotal Passover instructions. Blood on the doorframes for protection.
Yes, from the destroyer.
The urgent departure from Egypt. And that surprising detail. Moses carries Joseph's bones out with them.
Fulfilling that ancient oath.
Exactly. And then the truly epic event. The Red Sea crossing on dry ground.
Walls of water on either side.
As Pharaoh's pursuing army is just completely swept away. Not one survived.
Stepping back, the immediate response to this miraculous deliverance is a song of triumph, asking, "Who among the gods is like you, O Lord?"
Right, this moment of awe.
But what's so telling about human nature is that almost immediately, despite this incredible rescue, the grumbling starts.
Over food.
Over food. God addresses this by miraculously providing manna, with specific instructions for gathering, resting on the Sabbath. It's his continuous lesson in divine provision and, well, human impatience.
The narrative then shifts to that awe-inspiring scene at Mount Sinai. God descends in a dense cloud, speaks to Moses in sight of everyone, the mountain blazing with fire, deep darkness.
A terrifying holy moment.
And from this encounter emerged the 10 Commandments, that foundational moral code. No other gods, no idols, honor parents, no murder, adultery, stealing, false testimony, no coveting.
And those 10 are just the beginning, aren't they?
Seems like it.
What's really fascinating is that beyond those famous 10, the sources reveal this vast body of detailed laws covering everyday life.
Like what?
Well, severe penalties for attacking or cursing parents, specific property laws like how to handle a goring bull, even surprisingly specific rules about a thief caught breaking in at night.
Wow, really specific.
These laws weren't just about punishment. They reflect an incredibly granular society concerned with justice, property, even the nuances of intent in daily life. It reveals a sophisticated legal framework emerging.
Then we get these incredibly meticulous instructions for building the tabernacle, that portable sanctuary.
Right, down to the details. The Ark of the Testimony with its cherubim, the golden lampstand, the 10 curtains of finely twisted linen.
The courtyard dimensions, the materials, even the bronze tent pegs.
Every little thing specified. And one surprising aspect is that specific individuals, Bezalel and Oholiab, are described as being filled with the Spirit of God, with skill, ability, and knowledge in all kinds of crafts to do this work.
God-given talent for the job.
Exactly. And maybe even more remarkably, the people brought more than enough offerings for the sanctuary. Moses actually had to tell them to stop bringing stuff.
That speaks volumes, doesn't it, about their devotion?
It really does,
Yeah.
about their communal spirit in setting up this sacred space.
We also see this complex system of religious offerings detailed, specific procedures for sin offerings, grain offerings,
Burnt offerings, guilt offerings, fellowship offerings, a whole range.
and those detailed rituals for consecrating Aaron and his sons as priests, applying blood to their right ears, thumbs, big toes.
Yeah. And digging a bit deeper, this emphasis on meticulous rituals and ceremonial cleanliness.
Yeah, what's that about?
Well, from diagnosing infectious skin diseases to regulations for bodily discharges, menstruation,
Yeah.
it points to this profound societal focus on purity and atonement.
So even hygiene had spiritual meaning.
It seems so. It shows how sacred beliefs deeply shapes their daily lives. It all culminates in the yearly, highly intricate rituals for the Day of Atonement.
Their most solemn day.
Exactly. A profound national cleansing, where Aaron alone entered the holiest space to make atonement for everyone's sins. Yet, alongside these sacred laws, you have practical, deeply empathetic ones, like the Year of Jubilee,
Right. Property return, release of slaves.
acting as a safeguard against perpetual poverty. It's a complex mix.
Okay, so despite all this detailed divine guidance, like the cloud leading them day and night.
You'd think that would be enough.
Right. But the Israelites frequently grumble and rebel, which leads to severe consequences, like that 40-year wilderness punishment. They were told, "You will suffer for your sins."
It raises an important question, though. Amidst all this wandering and rebellion, how did they maintain any sort of order?
Good question.
The sources show a remarkable level of organization, like the careful tribal censuses, the distinct role of the Levites.
They cared for the sanctuary.
Right. Taken in place of the first male offspring, responsible for the ark, table, lampstand, receiving all the tithes. Leaders are even specifically named for assigning land inheritances later on. It shows an intricate, evolving structure despite the chaos,
And then there's that surprising story of Balaam and his donkey.
which supernaturally speaks to him, asks why he's being beaten.
Incredible. But isn't it striking that even with such clear divine intervention, you still see these profound failures of faithfulness, like the Baal of Peor incident?
Oh, absolutely disastrous. Israel worships foreign gods, leading to a plague stopped only by Phinehas's zealous act, driving a spear through an Israelite man and a Midianite woman.
Which then sparks a war against the Midianites.
Yes, with that grim detail of only saving the virgin girls among the captives.
So faithfulness and unfaithfulness.
Constantly reiterated, and their direct, often severe consequences. Moses' final speeches in Deuteronomy really hammer this home.
He says the conquest isn't because of their righteousness.
No, but because of the wickedness of the nations already there. He challenges them to circumcise your hearts, that metaphor for inner transformation, and presents this profound choice. Life and death, blessings and curses, stating these words are your life. It's a stark, compelling call to choose wisely.
So Moses dies, Joshua takes over, commissioned to lead the people. The Lord says, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, get ready to cross the Jordan River."
And they do, dramatically, on dry ground again, setting up memorial stones at Gilgal.
And we hear about Rahab, the woman who shelters the spies. That scarlet cord she tied in her window.
A small detail, but her salvation.
Yeah.
What truly stands out in this new phase, though, is the immediate, severe consequence of Achan's disobedience.
Yes, one man's actions.
One man's hidden plunder,
A rogue.
gold, silver, makes the entire community liable to destruction. His punishment, stoning and burning, is severe. It's a powerful illustration of corporate responsibility.
Wow.
The conquest continues, taking Ai. Then the clever deception of the Gibeonites, securing an oath from Israel despite their lie.
But the command for the other nations.
Chillingly clear. Completely destroy, leaving alive anything that breathes.
Joshua then directs the complex task of land allocation, sending men to survey, distributing it by casting lots at Shiloh.
Right, we get details of specific tribal inheritances, like Zebulun's towns, Issachar's territory, including Jezreel.
And that incident with the big altar by the Jordan.
Yeah, the eastern tribes build it, causing a misunderstanding, almost war.
Until they explain.
Exactly. They explain. They did it out of fear. Their descendants might be excluded later. It gets resolved.
Joshua's final assembly at Shechem. It's like a final reminder.
A powerful one. Reminds them of their history, calls them again to serve the Lord, warns against other gods, reminds them their forefathers worshipped other gods.
And then that poignant detail. Joseph's bones, brought all the way from Egypt.
So finally buried in the Promised Land brings their whole narrative full circle.
So after Joshua, the era of the judges, you mentioned that recurring pattern: sin, oppression, crying out, deliverance.
Yes, like with Othniel bringing peace.
So what does this cycle tell us about their society then?
Well, it tells us a lot about the fragility of their early nationhood, but also about resilience. We see these diverse, sometimes surprising deliverers.
Like Ehud.
Ehud, the left-handed man, saves them from Moab. Shamgar strikes down 600 Philistines with an ox goad.
Noxgo.
Yeah. Deborah, a prophetess, guides Barak to victory over Sisera.
Whose death involves jail and a tent peg.
Famously, yes, through his temple. And Gideon, leading just 300 men to defeat the Midianites using trumpets and torches.
So leadership came from unexpected places.
Very much so. Often arising from surprising individuals in moments of deep crisis.
But this period is also marked by deep internal disorder, right? Everyone did as he saw fit because Israel had no king.
Exactly. That lack of central authority leads to truly chaotic, violent events, like the horrific Levite and his concubine incident.
Which triggers a devastating war against the tribe of Benjamin.
Yes, where thousands fell. It's a dark period internally.
But amidst all that chaos, this gentle story emerges. Ruth.
Yes. Ruth the Moabitess, showing incredible loyalty to her mother-in-law Naomi.
We follow her gleaning in Boaz's fields.
And Boaz shows her kindness, saying she's come to take refuge under God's wings.
And the customs of the threshing floor. Ruth following Boaz's instructions.
It's a surprisingly tender narrative, almost out of place in such a turbulent time, but beautiful.
This era of judges and chaos eventually leads the people to demand a king.
Despite Samuel's warning that they're rejecting God himself, they say, "No, set a king over us."
And Saul becomes the first king, but he quickly shows disobedience.
Like failing to completely destroy the Amalekites as commanded, sparing the best animals. A pattern starts early.
So how does David, the young shepherd, rise up during this time?
Well, his legendary defeat of Goliath is obviously huge. The giant was over 9 feet tall, massive armor.
Against a shepherd boy.
Exactly. But perhaps even more telling is David's remarkable decision to repeatedly spare Saul's life, even when he has the chance, like in the desert of Ziph.
That shows character.
It does. And we even see Michal, Saul's daughter, helping David escape using an idol in the bed. David's journey wasn't a simple straight line to power.
David mourns Saul's death on Mount Gilboa, tearing his clothes, weeping.
And then becomes king, first over Judah, then all Israel. He conquers Jerusalem from the Jebusites, makes it his capital.
And famously dances with all his might when the ark comes to the city.
A moment of pure joy and devotion. But David's reign, for all his glory, isn't without severe moral failings and deep family tragedy.
Right, the Ammonite War triggered by that insult. Shaving beards, cutting garments.
And the shocking account of David's adultery with Bathsheba, with its devastating consequences.
Then the family strife. Amnon and Tamar, Absalom's revenge and rebellion.
Forcing David to flee Jerusalem, praying against Ahithophel's counsel. Even a royal census David orders leads to a terrible plague, 70,000 deaths, and a choice of divine judgments.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? Even the greatest leaders face immense personal and national challenges.
Absolutely. It's raw and unflinching.
Before his death, David makes these huge provisions for the temple Solomon will build.
Staggering amounts. Great pains to provide, the text says. 100,000 talents of gold, 1,000,000 talents of silver, copper, iron, too great to be weighed.
He ensures Solomon's succession by oath to Bathsheba.
And Solomon is anointed king at Gihon.
And Solomon famously asks for wisdom, not wealth or long life.
A request God immediately grants. Wisdom to govern his people.
What really captured my attention in this section is just the sheer magnificence of the temple Solomon builds.
Oh, incredible. Aided by Hiram, king of Tyre.
The inner sanctuary housing the ark, overshadowed by those massive cherubim.
Each 10 cubits high.
And the moment the cloud fills the temple, signifying God's glory, God's presence, it must have been awe-inspiring.
Absolutely. And the Solomon's kingdom becomes immensely wealthy. Silver, as common in Jerusalem as stones. It's this almost mythical golden age of prosperity.
But there's a stern warning that comes with all this glory.
Yes. God declares that if they forsake the covenant, worship other gods, this magnificent temple will become a byword and an object of ridicule among all peoples.
A powerful premonition.
And sadly, it proves prophetic. The sources reveal this consistent cycle of unfaithfulness after Solomon. Kings like Jeroboam doing evil in the eyes of the Lord.
But God keeps sending prophets.
Consistently raises prophets to speak his word, like Ahijah the Shilonite. It shows an ongoing attempt to guide the people back.
And we see these dramatic showdowns, like Elijah on Mount Carmel.
Oh, confronting the 450 prophets of Baal, famously challenging the people, how long will you waver between two opinions?
Fire from heaven.
Prompting the people to cry out, the Lord, he is God.
Yet, immediately after this huge triumph, Elijah flees Jezebel in despair.
Asks God to take his life. Says, I have had enough, Lord. It highlights the incredible emotional, spiritual toll of these prophetic callings.
Other notable prophets emerged too, like Elisha.
Performing miracles, healing Naaman of leprosy in the Jordan, predicting famine, even raising a boy from the dead.
So the narrative highlights this constant tension.
Between wicked kings like Ahab seizing Naboth's vineyard and getting his doom declared.
And moments of significant reform, like Hezekiah.
Right. Removing high places, smashing the bronze snake Moses had made, trusting God like no one among all the kings of Judah. These periods of intense wickedness and profound righteousness are constantly battling for the nation's soul.
Then the powerful story of Sennacherib, king of Assyria, taunting Hezekiah and God, asking, "Will you be delivered?"
And Hezekiah spreads the threatening letter before the Lord and prays, leading to divine intervention. God says, I will defend the city and save it.
But even with that deliverance, the prophet Isaiah announces that everything will eventually be carried off to Babylon.
The writing was already on the wall, it seems.
Yeah.
It raises that profound question. Despite moments of righteousness like King Josiah's widespread reforms, purifying the land, the temple, getting rid of idolatry, child sacrifice.
He tried.
He really did. But the persistent unfaithfulness of the leaders ultimately leads to the final disaster. King Nebuchadnezzar exiles Jerusalem, takes the temple treasures, carries all Jerusalem into exile. 10,000 people.
The culmination of centuries of choices.
Exactly.
But then a truly surprising turn. Cyrus, king of Persia.
Right. Decrees the exiles can return, even restores the gold and silver articles taken from the temple. 5,400 of them.
But the return isn't easy. They face opposition rebuilding the temple.
From the enemies of Judah and Benjamin, yes. But what's really striking here is Ezra's principal decision not to ask the king for soldiers for protection.
Why not?
He states, the gracious hand of our God is on everyone who looks to him. It shows this profound reliance on divine providence over military might. And then Nehemiah's powerful story. His grief hearing the walls of Jerusalem are broken down, gates burned.
And his determination to rebuild.
Amidst external threats, relying on both prayer and a diligent guard. And that profound moment when Ezra reads the law to the assembled people.
They weep.
They weep, hearing the words. And Nehemiah tells them not to mourn, because this day is sacred to the Lord your God. A moment of both conviction and celebration. Recommitment.
And Esther gives us another perspective on life in exile.
Yes, Queen Esther bravely pleading for her people against Haman's plot to destroy all the Jews.
Culminating in their defense and the festival of Purim.
Right, a story of courage and survival in diaspora.
Okay, moving into a different kind of narrative now. Job. We encounter this blameless and upright man.
Whose integrity is tested through immense suffering, initiated by Satan with God's permission.
What's fascinating there?
It's Job's intense wrestling match, really, with his friends about righteousness and suffering. Job acknowledges God's unfathomable power, moving mountains, shaking the earth, sealing off stars, performing wonders that cannot be fathomed.
But he also pushes back.
Oh, he provocatively states that God destroys both the blameless and the wicked. It's raw, unvarnished. A look at the complexity of justice and human understanding when faced with terrible loss.
And then those profound questions God poses to Job from the whirlwind.
Challenging his understanding of creation, asking about the springs of the sea, the gates of death, the vast expanses of the earth where darkness lives.
Puts things in perspective.
Absolutely, and describes these incredible creatures, the wild ox, the ostrich, the seemingly unconquerable behemoth and leviathan, whose chest is hard as rock, whom iron can't harm.
So what's the big takeaway from Job?
Well, it pushes us, I think, to consider the limits of our human understanding when faced with divine wisdom and power, and the complex, often mysterious nature of suffering and justice. It challenges simplistic answers, prompts deeper reflection on our place in this vast divine order.
Turning to the Psalms now, we hear this huge range of human emotion.
Absolutely. Fervent cries for mercy, healing. O Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am faint.
Deep laments over injustice. Why, O Lord, do you stand far off? Feelings of abandonment. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever?
What's so powerful about the Psalms is this constant oscillation, you know, between human frailty and divine faithfulness.
Right.
Amidst these honest expressions of human distress, there are equally powerful declarations of trust and praise. The Lord blesses the righteous. The heavens declare the glory of God. You are my hiding place.
And that recurring line.
That unwavering chorus,
Yeah.
His love endures forever. It truly is the voice of the human heart in all its complexity, finding both struggle and solace.
And finally, Proverbs. It seems to distill practical wisdom for everyday living.
Like a daily operating manual almost.
It tells us wisdom is more profitable than silver, more precious than rubies.
It absolutely is. And what's so enduring about these concise sayings is how they offer timeless guidance.
Like what?
They speak of the lasting power of truthful lips versus a fleeting lying tongue, the life-giving nature of a heart at peace, the principle that righteousness exalts a nation. They reveal God's attentiveness to the righteous while being far from the wicked. And perhaps most profoundly, that insight. To man belong the plans of the heart, but from the Lord comes the reply of the tongue.
Deep stuff in short lines.
Exactly. And that famous one. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous run to it and are safe. It's profound wisdom for just navigating the world.
We've traveled such an incredible distance today. From cosmic creation, those first human stories,
Through the tumultuous journey of a people shaped by promises, challenging laws.
to establishing a kingdom, its eventual fall, and the resilience needed for return.
What's truly fascinating is how these ancient narratives, rather than offering simple moral fables, they present these universal human experiences: ambition, betrayal, surprising mercy.
Not in a clean way.
No, not in a pristine vacuum, but through messy, complex lives, challenging us to see growth not as a straight line, but as this dynamic, often winding path.
So, as you, our listeners, reflect on this deep dive, here's something to chew on. Given those cyclical patterns we saw, obedience, consequence, unwavering promises repeated over and over, what do these foundational narratives suggest about the nature of growth for individuals, for communities across any era? What enduring lessons about building, sustaining, and importantly, rebuilding can you take from these very deep dives? Well, that's all the time we have for this. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope you feel better informed, maybe a bit inspired. Until next time.